The FBI is investigating a former agent who ran the public corruption unit right here in New Orleans. That's according to the Times-Picayune.
Fox 8 News has detailed questionable business dealings between that former agent and a now former powerful elected official. Tonight we've got new information that may infuriate anyone who is shut out of work after the BP oil spill.
We ain't working. We ain't working. We ain't going to be working.
At this heated community meeting nearly 2 years ago, many fishermen in Plaquemines Parish said the BP oil spill almost bankrupted them.
Put the address, West Karen Lane, Paris, Louisiana, 70041. Why am I not working?
While locals weren't working, they said outsiders were.
Well, why are we not working?
Well, go see. Well, that's why you're not working, because you're local, and that's it.
Yeah, we're local.
The frustration that night focused on Plaquemines Parish President Billy Nungesser and the Vessels of Opportunity program.
You want your sports here to cover you because they got money. That's all it's about, money.
But the frustration could have been extended to the Plaquemines sheriff at the time, Jiff Hingle, if residents would have known about his relationship with a well-paid parish contractor. We've already reported the owner of DRC Emergency Services, Robert Isaacson, loaned Hingle and his driver Brandon Marie's $100,000 after the oil spill to start an equipment rental company. Isaacson, a former FBI agent, got them a boat too, and then rented equipment from Hingle and his driver, paying them $500,000.
If that was intended to influence the sheriff to continue to give him business or to facilitate future contracts to that vendor, I think you may be approaching the criminal line with that.
At the same time Isaacson paid Hingle, the sheriff rented portable jails from Isaacson's company, DRC, and months later Hingle awarded DRC 2 lucrative contracts. But there's more. New information Fox 8 has uncovered. After the oil spill, Hingle leased a 38-foot fountain boat for the sheriff's office. Here's where the story takes some strange turns. According to the sheriff's office, Hingle rented one of the boats from a company named Archimedes Consulting. The representative for that company is a woman by the name of Joanne Mantis. Joanne Mantis is an attorney at a New Orleans law firm, King, Krebs & Juergens. Hingle's office paid Mantis's company, Archimedes Consulting, $280,000 to rent that fountain boat. But we dug deeper and found more records that show the boat didn't belong to Mantis or Archimedes. It belonged to Robert Isaacson in DRC. We figured that out from these documents. The Plaquemines Parish Sheriff paid for parts and labor on the boat. It clearly shows the owner as Isaacson, lists the Lakeview address of his DRC office. So while fishermen in Plaquemines were suffering, Hingle paid a company owned by Joanne Mantis, who's an attorney, to lease a boat, and then Mantis turned around and got the boat from Isaacson. Fox 8 legal analyst Joe Raspani says this latest finding, combined with the loan, the BP money from Isaacson to Hingle, and the lucrative contracts, could mean trouble for Isaacson, even Hingle. Raspani says the government could have a provable case of quid pro quo.
It is a Latin term that means this for that.
Raspani points to one recent high court ruling that shows to prove quid pro quo, all the government has to do is present evidence that shows a course of conduct of favors and gifts flowing to a public official in exchange for a pattern of official actions favorable to the donor.
They don't have to have had a handshake or a written document saying, hey, I'm going to do this for you, etc., but it can be implied by their actions or lack of actions.
So in this case, Isaacson loans and gives money to Hingle, and Hingle leases portable jails and a boat from Isaacson and awards Isaacson's company, DRC, 2 lucrative contracts. Raspani says even if Isaacson and Hingle didn't have a handshake deal, the money flowing back and forth presents a problem for both.
A reasonable person would realize that the actions were going in both directions for a reason, and it is implied that that was the case. So it gives the government another chance to prove something without having a piece of paper saying, this is our deal that we're going to do.
According to Fountain Powerboats, Isaacson's vessel retailed for about $300,000. Hingle paid $280,000 to lease that boat. Money the sheriff could have used to buy his own boat, or money he could have used to hire a local instead of Isaacson, who's from Alabama.
For 90 days, Joe, we've been
starving. $280,000, a lot of money that could have gone a long way for broke fishermen after the BP oil spill.
They got boats from Grand Isle. They got boats from everywhere over here, but Venice boats. People who live here who know the waters.
DRC and Robert Isaacson have refused to do an interview on our stories. Hingle's attorney, Frank DeSalvo, did not answer our calls today.
All right, so the obvious question, who is Joanne Mantis? How is she connected here?
And that's a good question. You know, we couldn't find any request for proposals seeking people for boats or any communication that we figured out how they hired Mantis. The only thing we do know from sources in Plaquemines Parish is she at one time had a relationship with Phil Ramone, who used to work in the city of Kenner, and now he actually works for a company, All South, that does a lot of work in Plaquemines Parish, and he's also has some ties to Parish President Billy Nungesser. So we know she's an attorney. We know she at one time was in a relationship with Phil Ramone, but that's it. And one thing, during a lot of the time that the boat was being rented, according to her website, her attorney website, she was in Greece. So it's kind of unclear where she was even during a lot of the oil spill too.
All right.
Okay.